Here are the 8 ways to bring out the worst in your husband. And number 1, are we with us so far? Everyone seems very quiet today.
I want to know I already bring out the worst. So
Okay, very good. You can add some tips. Okay, fine. So 8 ways to bring out the worst in your husband. Tip number 1, blame everything on your husband.
Oh, good one.
Yeah, number 1 way to bring. Yes. What did you say?
No, we can all do it.
No problem. That's great. It's very. You got this one down. Okay. So blaming your husband. So here's the thing. Our lives are insane. In the history of the planet Earth, we are probably the most frenzied generation that there ever was. By the way, I want you to know something. When I look here, I'm looking at the Instagram, and here I'm looking at Facebook. So you just think, like, why is she playing ping pong? It's like I'm trying to make both of you guys happy. I don't want to, ignore anybody. Okay, fine. So we're the most harried generation in the history of the world. We pay a price for this. And the price is that we're so busy getting stuff done that we forget the most important thing to us, which is being close to the people we love the most, namely our husband. So here's the problem. When stuff doesn't go right, and we're like, doing this and busy that, and going to the carpool and the thing, and getting that done, and we're trying to do this nice thing for this person, and if we just have one last phone call to make, and then it's off our to-do list, and everything is going flying, right? We are basically primed for something to go wrong, because we're attempting 10 different things, okay? So when that happens, our husband walks in the door, right? He walks into the kitchen, and he says, we've got the pot boiling over. We've got the toddler pulling pots out, out of the cabinet. We've got an email to the principal who we have to compose in our minds because it has to be out in the next half an hour or whatever. We've got a million things flying, and our husband comes in and says, "Dear, did you remember to call my mother today?" And you're just like, oh my gosh. Like, doesn't he get it? Like, hello. Okay. Now, I'm not saying the husband is blameless and doesn't have, couldn't use a class in timing. Maybe we'll set a class in timing and being sensitive to what your wife is going through at the moment. Okay. I get that. That doesn't help you knowing that information, knowing that he should be better, that he should be fixed, right? That doesn't help us. But is there something in that moment that you can do? That is the question. Here's what we need to recognize. Unwittingly, without our thinking about it or complicitness, how do you say it? Complicity?
Being complacent. I don't know.
No, not complicit, like without us agreeing to it being, you know what I'm saying? Like without us even knowing it. Our husband, listen up, ladies, this is very powerful once you get this. This could be the whole class for you. Once we understand, our husband has become the scapegoat for why our life is not going the way it should be going and why we want the way we want it to go. It's like, doesn't he get it? Like instead of being a helper or a sister or not a sister, an assister, somebody who assists us. Assistant, whatever. Instead of helping us and supporting us or whatever, he becomes the thing why everything doesn't work in our life. And first of all, he's close at hand all the time. You're not going to blame somebody who's living halfway across the country, right? He's close at hand. He does a lot of dumb things. Just guess what, lady? We also do a lot of dumb. Did I say I'm too insulting? But we also do a lot of dumb things. It's like we leave our keys back, and then we get there, and we don't have the key thing. We drove a half an hour, and we don't have the thing we needed to get into the thing. I mean, we do stupid things. That's the nature of being human, making mistakes. Maybe you don't. Maybe there's some people, and if you don't, maybe send me some notes on how to be perfect like you. But most of us are making mistakes constantly, and our husband is also. And guess what? We notice them, and it makes him our scapegoat because we can immediately say, like, is it true that when you're sitting there and you got the pot boiling over and he walks in and says, "Did you call my mother?" Is it true what he did was wrong? Yeah, that wasn't so nice. He should have clocked that how frenzied you were or whatever and asked you another time. Look, if it was urgent and he needed to know it, then maybe he didn't have a choice. Probably he had a choice. So was it wrong? Probably. Does that mean that he's to blame for the fact that the pot is boiling over, that the principal is waiting for an email from you? No, it really doesn't. But in our mind, that's where we go with it. We just blame him on everything, that he is the cause and the source of why our life isn't going the way it should be going.
Right, but isn't it that he's coming in as an adult, and it's not like a kid who's coming in and doesn't realize everything that's going on. He's walking in, he sees clearly that the pot's boiling over and you got the kids, and okay, he's not seeing the principal or whatever, but he's seeing that there's a lot going on, and he's still carelessly asking, like, oh yeah, he's the only thing that matters, which I guess you're right. He should be
the only thing that matters. Yeah, so got it. So yeah, so it is, I'm not saying that the husband is blameless, but I'm saying that he's not to be blamed for everything that's going wrong in our life. And if we can make that distinction, it gives us a lot of power in the moment to not snap, push him away, be angry, grit our teeth, cause coldness in the room, cause tension for the rest of the night. If we can recognize that he just did one stupid thing, or one thoughtless thing. Maybe it was stupid too, but one thoughtless thing, okay? So, what do we do about it? First of all, you have to understand one thing. This is very, very powerful. We have a formula here, and the formula is the more you blame your husband for what's not working in your life at the moment, the more distance there is in the marriage. So the more you blame, the more distance. Now, why is that helpful? Because sometimes you blame and it's well-deserved. Like in that instance, you can say, did you have to remind me about that now? That would, not ideal. It would be better if she just said, no, I didn't, but I'm really stressed right now, or something like that. Or it could be like, did you have to remind me of that now? I'm really stressed. I'm sorry. I'm not taking it out on you, but it's just on my head. But in her heart and in her head, she's knowing he's not responsible for the pot boiling over. He's not responsible for birthing the kid, in other words, he's responsible because he made you have to, by marrying him and having babies with him, you are responsible for all the stuff. And so how dare he, the scapegoat, I should have brought my little goat. I have a little goat. My kids got me a goat. I like goats.
Oh, yeah.
I should have gotten
my little goat. I'm like,
okay then. No, I have a little goat. Actually, you know where it is? It's with the Passover stuff, so maybe I wouldn't even find it. But anyway, so I have this little goat. But anyway, the thing is that making him the scapegoat in your life, if you start blowing things out of proportion, it's for sure going to make everything worse. So when he does something, the first question you want to ask yourself, am I making him the scapegoat? Or is it, is this a real thing that I need to deal with? If you say, oh, I'm just blaming everything on him because he walked in the room at the wrong moment and asked the wrong thing, and he really isn't the scapegoat for everything that's going wrong with my life, okay, good. Pat yourself on the back and say, okay, I'm going to answer that question. No, I didn't call your mother, or yes, I did call your mother, or whatever it is. Fine. Good for you. If, on the other hand, you realize that really you had told him, I'm going into the kitchen, the pot's boiling over, the principal called, and whatever, and he still came in and said, oh, by the way, did you call my mother? So he knew, and it was clocked and whatever, and it really is something he did that was damaging. So you need to take a deep breath and figure out, how am I going to deal with this? What do I need to do to accomplish my result? Blaming him for how he handled this and snapping at him or causing tension is going to make things worse. It's going to create a lack of closeness in the relationship. What can I do? You may not be able to think about it in a minute. Maybe some of you are. Maybe some of you in the moment will say, oh, I'm just making him the scapegoat. Or, oh, in the moment you can sit there and say, oh, that wasn't really nice. And you know what? I'm going to talk about him later. I'm just going to let it slide. Hear that? This is a hero's words. I'm going to let it slide. Now it could be I'm going to let it slide for the moment. Okay, that's a level. That's a madrega to get to. I'm going to let it slide for the moment, or it could be I'm going to let it slide for good. Like, okay, he made a mistake. What can you do? Fine. If you can get there, that's fantastic. If you realize, I really need to talk to him about, when the house is flying, particularly between, 4 in the afternoon and 7 when the kids go to bed, or 8 or 9 or whatever it is that the kids go to bed, I have to sit down with him. How's the best way to communicate this to him? If I sit there and I say, hey, you know what? When it is that you're not allowed to talk to me, is that going to be good? Probably not. Would it be better if you said, between, 4 and 7, it's really a stressful time for me. So during that time, please write on a Post-it note anything like, did you call my mother? Did you pay this bill? Did you pick up the dry cleaning? Anything that's kind of stressful, I can hear it after I've had dinner and after the kids have, wound down. Do kids ever wound down? No, they don't ever wind down. So, is that true? Okay, fine. Then how are you going to communicate to him in a way he can hear it? Okay, everybody get that? Blaming is the number one way to bring out the worst in your husband. It'll cause a lack of closeness. And again, where you want to go with this is thinking like on a practical level. Am I making a scapegoat out of my husband right now? Okay, fine. Let's go to number 2. Okay. How do I cover this one? Whenever I bring up this topic, the women all look down and look away, whatever. Okay, so here is the number 2 way to bring out the absolute worst in your husband, and that is to be moody without owning it. That's so hard, right? It's to be moody without owning it. So here's what happened. We're like, life is going normal or whatever, and then all of a sudden, boom, something hits us, right? We think of the neighbor who, borrowed our thing and ruined it, and now we don't have it, and now she hasn't given it back. And then when we asked her, she said she didn't borrow it or whatever. And then we get glummy. What's the word? We get grumpy, being glum. We are glumpy and bumpy and whatever. Okay, fine. So whatever. And then you're in a bad mood. Or, guess what, ladies? Nothing happens, and you get in a bad mood. Or you haven't eaten, or you haven't slept. How's that one? Something happens from outside of you that makes you gloomy and grumpy and moody. Or something doesn't happen and you're grumpy and gloomy and moody. And if you aren't, please send me an email. Tell me how you're not, okay? People will be very interested to know this, okay?
Or from inside of you when hormonally you're...
Yeah, your hormones go one of those days. Yeah, exactly. So... fine. So the issue is that, what was I going to say? Yeah, so the point is that you have moods, and we take those moods as if, we take liberty that now I'm in a mood, just leave me alone, just stay away, don't get close to me. But here's the worst part of it. We get in a bad mood, and then whatever our husband does, we make it because of that. It must be because of what our husband said, did, acted, behaved, whatever he did, whatever actions, whatever thought he had, whatever look he gave us, that sets us off to blame him for the mood rather than owning it ourselves. So the first thing to do for moods is to take a nap. 9 times out of 10, that's going to solve your problem. Oh, Leah, are you crazy? Like, I have a time for a nap? Are you out of your mind? Don't have time for a nap. Fine. So the issue is that if you can't actually take a nap, and sometimes a timer, go into your room, if you're at work, go into a quiet lounge or even the bathroom stall, wherever it is, and set a timer for 10 minutes. Put your phone on a timer, your watch, whatever. Put something on a timer. Sleep for 10 minutes. Even that will help get you out of your bad mood. Another thing is to eat something. Another thing is to do something you like to do. Listen to music. If you're an artist or a painter or a crocheter or something, do something to snap yourself out of your mood. This is not a good idea. This is your responsibility. This is called owning your bad mood. Because here's what happens. When you're in a bad mood, besides blaming your husband, I know, because it's kind of like it feels like a license to be mean to everybody. It feels like a license that because of doing that, you can put other people down, you can push people away. It's not a productive part of your life. And some of us are moodier than others, and some years are moodier than others, some weeks, some days. I get it. I'm not telling you not to have moods. We have moods. That's the nature of being a woman, and men also have moods, but usually women are much more moody with the hormones, etc. And we have a responsibility to be accountable for it. So again, the greatest way to guarantee that you're going to bring out the worst in your husband is to take out your moods on him. Okay, so now I want to start by saying, recognizing that you are in a bad mood is the first half of it. That's how you gain real mastery, is that rather, like you get in a bad mood, and rather than thinking it's his fault, or this happened, or being upset about the thing itself, recognize, ooh, a bad mood descended on me. Now, you can stay in that bad mood if you want, and you may not have a choice sometimes. We just can't. We just can't shake ourselves, even when we try this and we try that. Usually we're so busy, we don't have time to go listen to music like, hello, like I'm in a bad mood, and I've got 14 things to do, and the lunches to make, and the dinner to make, and the, whatever. So we don't often have the ability to take care of our own mood. But we do have the ability to own it, to say, oh, I'm in a bad mood. I better be careful and take care of people. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that we have an Instagrammer, Rosemary, who's from Miami Beach, who said it's beautiful over there today, even though it's cold out here.
Okay.
Who said so true. She's been married over 26 years, and she gets in a sad or bad mood for random stuff, some things that he did years ago or whenever.
Wow.
So one of the things that she does is a short bath or shower.
But thank you, Rosemary. That's very nice.
Yeah.
I appreciate that very much. And the other thing about it is that it's like, I'm very, very impressed and proud of you for knowing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that makes all the difference. When you were listening to Sarit read what she said, didn't it make you feel like, oh, here's a mature lady who gets it, who's like not saying, oh, and my husband, blah, blah, blah. She's sitting there saying, oh, yeah, I'm moody. A shower, Beth, that's a good one. I don't have any of my things.
Exactly.
That's good.
And we actually have another Instagrammer, Noemi, who said, what about when he has his moods?
Aha! Okay. Well, let's go back to number one. Blame everything on him. Okay, right. Okay, so fine. So, very good. Mm-hmm.
Rosemary also said blaming is not good. She agrees.
Yeah, good. Okay, fantastic. So the issue is blaming, if being moody, if your husband is in a mood, totally get it. That is maybe if you improve on how you behave with your moods, like you own it, and you're like, here's the difference. If you wake up in the wrong side of the bed, and you're just grouchy, and you're like, where's my toothbrush? Where's the right? And you're in a bad mood, it's so off-putting and so distancing. How about this? Owning it would be to wake up in a grouchy mood, and you had a bad dream, and it kind of won't leave you. You ever like hello, and so so you have this bad mood, and you turn to your husband and you say, you know what? I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I am feeling so moody, such a bad mood, whatever. It's not you. I don't want you to take it personally. I don't want, whatever. I'm going to take a shower, like Rosemary said, and try and get out of it. Hopefully I'll get out of it, but don't take it personally. That's a choice to connect, right? So to answer Noemi's question is that if you start beginning to own your own moods and start taking responsibility for it and saying, oh, I'm in a bad mood and it's not your fault, and even if you feel like maybe it is even a little bit their fault, but you just, a little bit say, it's not really your fault, don't worry about it, I'm sorry, I'm going to work myself out of this bad mood, that's still drawing them in. Then that is the number one best chance you can have of having your husband treat you exactly that same way.
Okay, can you call him, I don't want to say call him out on his mood, but can you say, something seems to be bothering you, do you want a drink?
You want space?
I don't know, right. Can you call him out in a sense?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it calling it out, although it's a fantastic question. I wouldn't call it calling it out. I would say, can you be empathetic to his bad mood? And then maybe it would teach him to be empathetic to yours. Like I get
That's
it.
why you wrote the book, because you said it so well. I'm like, call him out on his mood.
No.
Be empathetic.
Hello. No, but I'm just saying, it's very good to say, you seem out of sorts. Can I make you a sandwich? It's like, oh, instead of like that distance, there's this closeness. And if you're in a bad mood, you can say, I'm in a really bad mood, I need a hug, or I'm in a really bad mood, so-and-so said this thing to me, and I got this other email, and I was feeling yucky. Can you say, oh, you poor thing, like whatever.
So Lisa actually says, what if when you're in a bad mood, rather than saying, can I get a hug, you actually want your space, and you want to be left alone, but you know that if you say that to him, he will be hurt.
Oh, Aliza, that's such a fantastic question. So here's the thing. There's communication in the spur of the moment, which can be, which is like when there's fighting and there's conflict. You're in the midst of the battleground, so to speak, okay? And then there's conversations you have before or after, okay? Preemptive communication is when you would say, listen, sometimes when I get in a bad mood, I don't know why I get in a bad mood. Sometimes I get mad at you for stupid things which I shouldn't do because I'm in a bad mood. And it's like, that is really stupid. I'm getting mad at him because he didn't put the milk in. Okay, so it's $2 worth of milk or 15 cents worth of milk. Why am I getting mad at that? Because I'm in a bad mood. So when I get in a bad mood, I realize probably the best thing I can do, besides taking a shower and listening to my favorite music or doing artwork or taking some downtime, which none of us ever have the time to do, but whatever, but trying these things, I'm going to do that. But when I get in a bad mood, I realize I really need space. And I'm afraid if I tell you, right now I'm in a bad mood, I really need space, I feel like that's going to hurt you. Would it be possible, husband, dear? So, Lisa, this is you saying it to your husband now. Would it be possible, husband, dear, when I realize I'm in a bad mood and I don't want to snap at you and I don't want to, I don't want to take it out on you and I just need to get into my own world to get over it, in a time like that, would it be okay if I said, dear, I need space now, don't take it personally? And your husband will say, oh, okay, okay, yeah, when that happens, I'll do that. I'll try. And or he'll say, no, I would be insulted if you said that. So then you say to him, Eliza, you say, well, what do you recommend I do when I'm in a bad mood and I don't want to take it out on you? Make him think. And I'll say, oh, leave the house. Whatever he says, So work it out. But again, this is preemptive communication so that in the heat of the battle or in the heat of the conflict or the emotion or whatever, he's not taking insult. It's a fantastic question.
Good. You got a lot of agrees and true, and thank you, Leah.
Thank you. Very good. Awesome. Very good. Okay, so good. Let's see. Okay, let's go to the next one. So that's be moody without owning it is the bad thing. You want to own your moods. And that's just by communicating about them and just owning them. It starts with first getting it in your heart and owning it and saying, oh, I am in a bad mood. This is not because the kid did that or the email said that or the husband said that. Now, they can be triggered from that, but your bad mood is no longer, listen up, your bad mood is no longer an excuse to snap out at people. Is snapping the right word? Like let it out on people, to hurt them and to push them away. And it's really the first instinct. When we get in a bad mood, other people that I've heard get in a bad mood. When Sarit gets right, exactly. Thank you. They throw you under the bus. When people get in a bad mood, the first thing they want to do is push other people away, push everybody away. So that's different than the space that Eliza was talking about. Space is understandable, and you just want to think it through, and you don't want to. What's wrong? Why are you upset? Why are you treating me that way? You need space. Totally fine. But pushing people away by saying, waking up in a bad mood and saying, grouching at everybody, that's not okay. Own it. Okay, number 3. Oh, this one's so sad. Okay. This is a way to make sure to bring out the worst in your husband. Never let him get the satisfaction of making you happy. Isn't that sad? This is so, I can't even tell you how prevalent this is in couples I speak with. I'm like, you just, I'll talk to the couple and I'll be like, you never give him the satisfaction that something he did made you happy. So our source is making, oh wait, I forgot sources. Let me just see. Okay, all right, okay, let's go from here. Okay, the source for this, the Gemara says, one who lives without a wife is living without happiness. The Midrash further points out a person without a wife is incomplete. Thus, he needs his wife to complete himself. And that is because a husband wants to, his number one most important thing he ever wants to do in his life. And you may not believe this, but he was born to make you happy. That's the most important thing in his life, one of the most important things. I asked Rebbeim, and they said, just say one of the most important things, because for some people it might be very different. They might have a life mission or something like that, but for sure, it's in the top 5 things of the reasons he wants to be alive on the planet is to make you happy, and we never give him that satisfaction. So, we could walk out of, he took us to a restaurant, like, did you like the restaurant? It was all right. The chicken was kind of cold, and, I thought it was way too noisy in there. Don't you think they should do something about that noise? Like, oh, okay, Did you have fun at our simcha? Well, there was a little too much dancing, or there was not enough dancing, or the music was too loud, or the music was too quiet, or whatever. We never go clunk where he gets the sense that he has made us happy. Did you like our vacation? Yeah, but it was too rainy, or it was not rainy enough, or it was too busy, or it was too quiet, or it was too boring, it was too what? Ladies, just say yes. Give him the thing he wants most in the world, which is to make you happy. That means no but. No but. Take the word B-U-T, but, out of your vocabulary. Did you like the restaurant? Yes. Thank you so much for taking me. Did you have fun at our simcha? Yes, it was fantastic. Over the top. Best ever. Thank you also for letting us get the little sushi bar that we got. I know that was expensive and whatever, and that really, I saw a lot of people saying how delicious it was. We're back to sushi again.
Yes,
Like a running theme. Okay, so, did you like our vacation? It was terrific. Well, didn't you say that it was upset you how much it rained? Yeah, but maybe it was meant to be that way. We didn't do quite as many activities, and that was good. Give him that satisfaction. When we qualify our compliments or our thank yous with but or, well, maybe, we don't even realize that we're not letting our husband give to us. And that's what he wants to do more than anything in the world. Now, you have to understand, when he gives us something, right? It's like, let's say your husband, he gives you a gift, right? And, I'll be the husband. Okay, I need somebody else. Here, I'm giving the gift, right? And you're not taking the gift. That means I'm still holding the gift, right? My hand, I'm like, and I keep trying to give the gift to you, and you're not taking the gift. You're like, no, well, it wasn't, but it was this, and it was that, and it was that, whatever. You're not taking the gift. So now I'm still holding on the gift. Now, all of you know, these are our sources. We went over it many times. Rav Moshe Cordovero says all bracha comes from Shemayim. All blessing comes from God through the husband and to the wife. And he hands the gift to the wife takes it, now his hands are empty. His hands are empty, guess what? God keeps replenishing and replenishing. Can they see my hand on the camera?
Yes.
Okay.
No, you're not
Okay,
floating.
I'm not floating. Okay, I just want to,
elbow.
okay,
No,
elbow.
your
Okay, I
hand
just
is in.
want, okay, my hand is in. So, he is, when he gives to us, his hands are empty. And then God replenishes it again and again. We have many sources for this. He keeps replenishing it. God gives to us. The husband gives to us. His hands are empty. God gives to him. He gives to us. His hands are empty. Goes back to God. That's how it works. When your husband gives to you, here's the gift, and you don't take it, guess what? His hands are still full. There is nothing for God to give him. His hands are full. God can't give him any more gifts. So if you want more blessing in your life, more blessing means more everything, more happiness, more joy, more money, more health, more everything working out, the car not breaking down. If you want more blessing in your life, the way to get it, ladies, this is beautiful. The way to get it is to receive his gifts. And that means no saying but. It means saying thank you with no but. Okay? Let your husband get the satisfaction of making you happy. Zehu.
Period.
Full stop.
Yeah, Rosemary
Full stop.
actually says that she said this is so true, that she still is thanking her husband a lot for taking her for the 27th anniversary in October of 2018.
Wow.
Mazel
Mazel tov.
To Israel. And she's,
Wow.
She
Still
says
thanking
she sees,
him.
such a difference in that when she thinks.
Wait.
Meaning thanking, even if it happened already, and just still being thankful. And like you said, the blessings keep coming.
Right.
So.
The husband doesn't say, you already thanked me for that. I don't forget it. No, he will keep taking it, because guess what? That's you milking your husband for gifts and blessing and goodness. It's all goodness. People say, oh, well, aren't I a taker? There's a very big difference between being a receiver and being a taker. A taker is somebody who rips things away from other people. A receiver is somebody, when something is given to them, they are appreciative deep down in their heart, and they say so. It comes out of their mouth. Okay, very good. Oh, okay. Oh, I had this great example, right? You have a kid, right? And he asks you to buy, I bit my cheek, and now it's like, when you bite your cheek, then you keep biting it. Oh my gosh. Okay. No, actually, you didn't see me bite it on camera, or you would have seen
they
me
didn't see you
squirm.
take your shoes off either.
Okay,
So you're
fantastic.
good.
We're good. Anyway, okay, so what happened is, you have somebody, right? You got a kid, let's say. and your kid, you bring 2 boxes of Honey Nut Cheerios. I don't know if anyone likes Honey Cheerios. They're like unbelievable,
the best
so good,
Cheerios.
gluten free.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Okay, fine. Not so
Yum.
much sugar. It's better to have them without Honey Nut, but whatever.
No,
okay,
Honey Nut,
so
no
you
way.
okay, fine. Anyway, so your kid says to you, he opens the cupboard and he says, "Mom, thank you so much for getting 2 boxes. Last week we ran out, and by Thursday, and I didn't know what to do. That was so nice of you, Mom. I'm so grateful that we have 2 boxes."
Okay,
of
who is
and-
that kid, and where do you want him?
There you go. Okay, this is the hypothetical now, this hypothetical situation. So now your kid says that, right? Now you're in the grocery store the following week, and you're like going through whatever, and you see the Honey Nut Cheerios. What are you going to do, ladies? How many boxes are you going to buy? 7? 8? Right? Right? It's like when someone's appreciative of you, you just want to do more for them. And people say, "Oh, if I thank my husband, he'll think he's good and he doesn't have to do anything." The opposite is true. The more appreciation and gratitude that you show, and the more you let him see that you are satisfied with what he's giving you, the more he will give you. Okay, number 4, be defensive about everything. So here's the thing. Life is racing by a million miles an hour. We know what it is. It's just, it's not unreal. Like you wake up. By the way, I have a thing about waking up. Wake up and check your sitter first. Don't check your phone first. Go to your sitter. Say your morning blessings. You know what I mean? Like make it a rule in your house or something like that. It's like, it's so sad. These people, and there's millennials keep it on their nightstand right there. I sometimes text somebody because in the middle of the night I don't expect anything, and I get an answer back at 3 in the morning. Like, what are they doing? Like, it's so sad. They can't even sleep. We can't even now sit on a park bench. If you go to the park now, I don't know if anyone ever goes to the park, but people who go to the park used to go to the park, and you'd see people sitting on the park and going, and they'd be like this, and there's a dog, and like, if you go to the park now and you look at all the benches, there's nobody who's at the park. They're like this. We can't go to the park? Like, I don't know what the ramifications of this. It seems very creepy and sad to me. So anyway, how did I get off on this tangent?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just talking about life being so busy. Frenzied, busy. So we're frenzied, and here's what happens because we're frenzied. We're trying to do 14 things at once, and so if one of those things doesn't go correctly, we lose it. It doesn't go correctly. And guess who's usually to blame? It's usually our husband walking in and piling one more camel on the straw, on the camel's back. One more straw. Okay? Our husband becomes one more straw because we're trying to accomplish way too much. So consequently, we get defensive about everything he says and does, and like his interactions with us, we become like, that like whatever we say and whatever we do, the bottom line is, like, why are you bothering me? Why are you giving me one more thing? Why are you doing one more thing? Fine. So that is a way to bring out the worst in your husband.
Yeah, Aliza actually shared that she makes it a point, this is very helpful actually, she makes it a point to thank her husband in front of others, especially his mother, because when she makes a big deal out of it in front of someone else, it actually like really
pumps
makes
it up.
Makes it feel
Brilliant,
special.
fantastic.
Yeah, nothing better than to make your husband feel amazing in front of his mother or your mother.
Or your mother. You're the
Even
mother-in-law.
more so your mother.
Even
yeah,
so,
exactly.
fantastic, Lisa. Thank you for the comments. Absolutely, 100%. Okay. Here's the thing. We are not a generation that is learning patience. As we know, what we expect our Amazon to arrive the next day. Like, what is it, 1 day and free and 2 day shipping and whatever, 2 hours now, 2 hours. Have you ever, anybody go your friend has an old computer and you go on the old computer and you're just watching that thing go, right? Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. Like, hello, like really, like we become, it's like frenzied we're attached to perfection. We expect customer service right away. Everything has to be boom, boom, boom. So in our daily life, our perfectionism and our addiction to instant gratification, it's kind of like instant gratification on steroids, okay? Our addiction to that has created a environment in the marriage where this defensiveness means that everything that our husband does is, everything that we do, it's like if you ever like start a fire, and there's like this and that's smoldering a little and that's smoldering, and then you add one match and that's what it is. Our life is like a powder keg. It's like one thing. It just takes one little thing for us to put our defenses up, to push them away, to snap, to be whatever, because our lives are powder kegs, and we're used to. And he's not. When things aren't going our way, it's usually him. Because we have scripted the whole how everything is supposed to be and how it's supposed to look and what's supposed to happen next, and he comes in and he throws a kink in the thing. He says, "Oh, did you remember?" And you realize, oh, that has priority over all of this. What I'm doing, okay, and so it's usually we are so defensive, and that immediately pushes our husband away. And guess what? It brings out the absolute worst in him. So the first step is to recognizing how demanding and impatient all of us are. That's the first thing. Next, in the midst of our harried lives, when our husband walks in the door, immediately say, this is a red flag. He walks in, or he calls, or he somehow approaches. He's not right there, let's say, or maybe he is right there. He opens his mouth. He's about to encumber us with something. Whether it's a request, whether it's a chastisement, whether it's a mean word, whether it's a nice word, whether it's whatever it is, he's encroaching on our mental life, on the perfect script that we have of what's supposed to happen right now. When that happens, a red flag needs to go up, and I should bring little
flags,
goats, let's do it. So it should be a red flag to you. Don't mess this up. Warning. Warning, ding, 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 warning, this is a time when you're about to push your husband away because you got too much on your plate. I'm not telling you to not have more on your plate. Good luck. I'm still struggling with that. If you know how to do that, send me a note, okay? Actually, there is one good way to do less, which is you have a list of 20 things. Circle the top 5 and only get those done, and whatever else you get done is fine, but make that frosting rather than the cake. So anyway, if that's helpful to anybody. But the point I'm making is when your husband approaches you, have a red flag go up. Don't mess this up. Now,
Leah, while you're looking for your next thing, just know that you're being thanked for the gift of sharing your knowledge, that you explain it so well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You should feel that.
Whoever said that.
That was Rosemary.
Rosemary, thank you, sweetie pie. I appreciate that very much. I really appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to make it very practical because this is not so easy. Okay. Okay, so being defensive. So the thing is that we have the shortest fuses in the history of mankind, okay? Really short fuse. The best way around that is to recognize it, to realize that I'm about to snap, like I'm a snap waiting to happen. Okay. Good. Drop your current driven method of thinking. When the red flag goes up, drop like, oh, I've got this script. Drop that driven method of thinking and just be there for him. Just whatever it is that he's come to you for, just be there for him. Don't let your busyness and defensiveness and overall emotions at the time tear you apart from your husband. Make listening and being there for him your objective. Doing this, look, I get it. It's not easy, and especially when we're harried and you're in the middle. But knowing that that's when it's going to attack, knowing that that's when you're going to snap, is 90% of the battle. So at that time, have a red flag go up, like, he's not following my scripts. A red flag goes up, and then concentrate your whole effort. I'm going to be there for him. Okay?
And for Yehudas who just joined us from London.
Oh, hello,
Yehudas.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, we need a red flag and British flag. There you go.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, for all you Instagrammers, even if you can't watch this live show during the 24 hours that it's up, we do keep this on Facebook for forever. So
our digital library.
Exactly.
Yes, that's
what
we call them archives, and that sounds so fast asleep. So digital library.
Digital library on Facebook is on forever, so you can send this and share the show. And as much as you
very good. Thank you very much. Okay, so fine. Okay, so that was be defensive about everything in order to get him to the guaranteed way to make him. To bring out the worst in him. Okay, so now let's go into the next one. Make sure to point out every mistake that your husband makes. Right? Aww. Isn't it true? like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know, everything. Don't
Yeah.
miss any of them. Don't miss any little thing he does that's a mistake. Make sure to
Yes,
point
my
it out to
husband
him.
says I have the worst memory except when it comes to the stuff.
There you
Then
go.
my memory is super sharp and I remember it all.
That is really funny. That's very cute. Okay. Okay. So for those of us who do everything perfectly, it's very annoying to be married to a man who doesn't. Okay? So we give him a simple task. Here, please bring out these 3 nut bowls to the table for dessert. Okay? And he takes the 3 nut bowls and he puts them at one end of the table instead of putting them one at one end, one in the middle, and one at the other end. The 3 exact same things of cashew nuts, right? Simple. Hello. Okay. We give him we tell him bring the garbage pails in. He brings them in, right? Or maybe we don't even tell him. He does it himself. Yay. He brings the garbage pails in and he puts them exactly between the house and the neighbor or whatever in exactly a way that you have to walk sideways to get back, to get, through the side of the house. 5 inches in and it would have been fine. You can't do anything right? Okay. All right, now I was going to go into a driving example. Maybe that's bad. Maybe we're going to depress everybody. But, how close to the bumper in front of you does one need to be? Okay, enough said, right? Okay, so here's the thing. We are actually right about all those things. But the big question is, what's in it for us? Like, by being right, okay, so we got to be right. It's a very hollow victory because if by us being right, our husband is now the schlemiel that, the dope who did it wrong. And instead of having a husband that we can look up to or whatever, if we point out every mistake, it just makes, in our mind, he's lessened, and in his mind, he's lessened. And why should he even try? So if you have a kid, right, and he's a troublemaker, always a troublemaker. Anyway, he decides, I'm going to make a Kabbalah, I'm going to work on it, I'm going to try and be good. And he's sitting there in the back of the room, really working hard, trying not to throw spitballs, trying not to, make trouble and talk to the neighbor and whatever. He's really working at it. And a airplane lands on the teacher's desk, a paper airplane, right? And the teacher goes like this, and looks right at him. Get out of my room. Go to the principal's office. Sit in the corner, right? What's this kid thinking? What is the point? Why should I try to be good if I'm going to be blamed anyhow? This is what we kind of do to our husbands. It's like whatever he does, we point out every mistake he makes. So what is the point in him trying to do something nice for us? Like even I did the garbage. I took the garbage out. I was trying to do it without her asking me, and I get a earful about that it's 5 inches too far away from the wall. Even the what's the other thing I gave about the nuts? You should have put the nuts over. Just go do it yourself, okay, or whatever. I've got some examples of how to get over it. But the bottom line is that our perfectionist tendencies are what is making him miserable. So here's what happens to the male brain when you or any brain, but let's just use the husband. Here's what happens to the male brain when you point out their mistakes. You didn't wash, this is you talking now, okay, us talking, us women. You didn't wash the dishes correctly. They're still soapy. So what goes on in his brain? Well, I'm not going to be so quick to do the dishes again. You say, you should have told the manager that we're returning within 30 days. Like he didn't get the return, he went to the store and he was supposed to return something and he didn't get it returned. And you're really annoyed because if he had said, it's within 30 days, he would have gotten a return. So what's he thinking? Why do I even bother making the effort? I'll get criticized no matter what I do. So here's the next one. You say, that's not how you spell lightning. By the way, I don't know how to spell lightning. That's the first example that came to my mind. Right, okay, so that's not how you spell lightning. You're correcting your husband, his mistake, right, because he spelled it wrong. So what's he thinking? So this is very sad. The first thing he thinks, who cares how to spell it? Doesn't matter. Which translates into, who cares what she thinks? Which unfortunately translates into, who cares about her? This is no joke. No joke. It goes directly. Who cares how you spell it? Who cares about her? Who cares about what she thinks and who cares about her? That's what happens. So when you're making a mistake, I made this very stark, very harsh, because I want you to realize when you are pointing out every mistake he makes, This is immediately what it's doing. It's causing huge separation, a huge gap. And it is the number one way to bring the worst out of your husband, because it's not going to grow him. It's not going to make him motivated to, like, be great for you. It's like you're just going to, no matter what he does, like the paper airplane landing on the thing, he's going to get blamed. Why should he try? So for those of you who have done this many times, of years of history and habit of making your husband wrong and pointing out all his mistakes, it's going to be a little harder for you to get over the hurdle. But once you start biting your tongue more often and using virtual duct tape, which we like around here, we need some
watch that show, guys.
Yeah, about the duct tape. Yeah,
from,
what was it?
Last week.
Oh yeah,
How to talk to your husband.
Exactly. Okay, fine. Part two. So the issue is when you're using that virtual duct tape is that you are allowing your husband to be human and to make mistakes just like you are. And guess what? I bet you it'll turn around so that he stops pointing out your mistakes. Okay, let's go on.
Leah, we have from Facebook, Mindy, who asked, why are we so pressured? And is there a session for the men to know how to acknowledge what we're so busy with? So that they actually realize that as a woman, even though many of them think we don't do very much, sometimes,
right.
How do we get them to know that
all that we're accomplishing. Yeah. So wait, I didn't understand the first part of her question.
She was saying, her first part was basically saying, why are we so pressured? I mean, how do we...
Okay, so we have a whole section on this. We have a class called, I think, Accomplishing versus Connecting. I don't know what the show is called. Yeah, okay, so fine. We discussed this because the reason we're so pressured is just life is just speedy, and everybody's pressured. So, it's a lot of work to get yourself into a place where you can feel... like we had a whole thing. We wanted people to feel like they're. Let's start a new trend of saying, "I relaxed this afternoon. I did nothing today. Let's start a whole new habit, a whole new fad, and make it hip and cool. And rather than saying, the whole thing now is, I got no sleep last night. I'm doing so much. Oh, I'm so busy. Like that's the brag. The brag should be, I've accomplished a lot, but I just decided I'm going to take a sewing lesson. I'm going to take an hour every day and go walk in the park, whatever it is to make that. So that the pressure is a whole thing we've covered in a few classes, and we're going to cover it, I'm sure, again. But the question, what was the second half?
How do you
tell your husband. So right, so that's in the whole section we talk about getting the appreciation we need, and that is making a list of everything you're doing and have your husband and read it off to your husband and say, dear, you start the list by saying, dear, I don't need you to fix me. I don't need you to work on these. I'm not complaining at all. I just need to tell you everything I did today and for you to say, wow, you're fantastic. Okay, and then you give it over to him, and so that's one way. There's a lot of ways to get the appreciation we need. They're outlined in classes below, and also in Marriage Secrets is a whole chapter on getting the appreciation we desperately need. So that will mitigate that. And did that answer her question?
Yeah, because I think actually the list is great, because then he actually gets to know what you are doing.
Right.
So he gets a sense
and he's less to come in and bombard you with 10 things.
Because I don't think husbands necessarily think their wives aren't doing anything.
Oh no, she asked about when's the men's class.
Yeah.
So
about how to tell them all the stuff that we're doing.
Right, exactly. So telling them is one thing. Having the secret here, and this is one thing, because I get a lot of, when's the men's class, like that, and I totally get it. I'm not making fun of anybody. I'm just saying that it's the natural thing. Like, why isn't he working on this? So women were designed much more relationship focused than men were. Men are much more builders and doers. It varies from person to person and whatever, but women take to heart their whole, and we have a lot of sources of this, so I'm not going to go through now, but we have a lot of tradition, 3,000-year-old track record of success, knowing that a woman is very focused on relationships. And so for a woman to work on this stuff, a woman wants to work on it. She wants to improve herself. She wants to grow. The man it's like above his or below his radar, above his radar, whatever. It's not on his radar to work on this stuff. Now, it's not saying he can't. He will. If you work on yourself, you'll see a natural closeness develop in the relationship. For him to sit in a class, also fantastic thing to do. But it's not absolutely mandatory for a husband to learn all these millions of details of what to do for the marriage to get better. It is just enough, if the Gemara gives over that the husband is the giver and the wife is the receiver. If the wife begins receiving more and more and more and more, it's absolutely natural and guaranteed that the husband will give more and more and more. And this isn't I'm going to take Leah's word for it. This is a go home and try this yourself, and you'll see it's very, very powerful. Excellent question. Thank you very much for the teleconference. Okay. So what is the point? What's the solution to stop pointing out every mistake that they make? That includes horrendous put downs to their intelligence by saying, "I told you so." This is, "I told you so," proves to them how superior you are and how dumb they are. Bad idea. There's nothing worse for a husband's ego than for his wife to think he's stupid. And we all, I don't care, whether we admit it or not, we all want a husband we can look up to and be proud of and respect and think, oh, he's fantastic. And then we spend all our time knocking him down and telling him, "I told you so," and pointing out his mistakes, and we're shooting ourselves in the foot. So the first thing is to recognize the horrible ramifications of pointing out your husband's mistakes, and secondly, use virtual duct tape. The payoffs are ginormous. Okay, fine. Let's go on to the next one. Oh my goodness, I gotta go fast. Okay, number 6, put him down in front of others. Okay, putting your husband down in front of others is the best way to bring out the worst in your husband. Guaranteed. So this is shockingly common. "Honey, that's not how you do a diaper." This is called in front of people, in front of other. I've heard this. I'm like, oh my gosh. "My husband can never get anywhere on time." This is the love of your life? Really, ladies? Really? That's not what the principal said to our son. Let me tell the story. I think you better ask a rabbi about that, because I'm really sure you're wrong about that. "My husband is not really good at listening to other people." So these are sentences that we hear all the time. Don't you be one of them. Don't be that wife. Don't be that person who puts them down in front of others. That is a way to bring out the worst in your husband. He'll do back to you. He'll resent you. He'll be angry. He'll have a silent rage because he can't say anything. He can't say in front of other people, "That wasn't really nice of you to say. You look like an idiot or a wimp or whatever." So he's just stuck with it. He just has to sit there. Put downs chip away our closeness, and we don't even realize it. Included in this is barking out orders to your husband. I can't tell you how often I hear women say, "Grab me the diaper bag. Oh, can you bring me some coffee? Can you do that?" That's insulting. I mean, if you want to say, "Oh, would it be possible for you to bring me the diaper bag?" Okay, I hear that. Maybe just get the darn diaper bag yourself. Okay, fine. But let's say you're asking him for something, or you need help. You've got 3 kids under 3. I hear. Don't bark out orders to him. That's putting him down in front of other people, and even if you're in private, not a good idea. The Talmud says that one who shames another in public, causing the blood to drain from his face, is comparable to a murderer. We have many sources telling us that you may not embarrass somebody in public, and this counts as embarrassing somebody in public. So, how can you stop putting him down in front of others or in private? The most potent way is to recognize the steep price you pay for doing it. That the closeness that we all want with our husband, our bestie, our best friend, and, we build each other up and we love each other and we have this closeness, that we all want that. Putting him down in front of others and putting him down at all shreds that to smithereens. There's nothing left. He doesn't want to be close to us, and we wouldn't blame him. Okay. That was a serious one, but it was true.
Yeah, but we have, and I think we may have to. 2 more. I feel like
You had 2 more.
Wanna...
We have 1 minute.
Yeah,
okay,
so maybe,
we can't. Yeah, I want to finish it because we just
Okay.
have to. It's the last ones
So
are
go
quick.
over it.
Okay. So So that was put him down in front of others. Next one was nag him. This is fairly obvious. It's a cliche, right? The nagging wife or whatever. So what does nagging him accomplish? Nothing. Now maybe he'll do it, but you're getting one little thing done at the cost of closeness in your marriage. What are alternatives to nagging? Write it on a Post-it note. Ask him how you should remind him. How do you want me to, you said you would bring the car into the shop, but it hasn't happened in the last month and a half. How would you like me to remind you? Put a timer, send you a text. How do you want me to remind you? Figure out what has worked in the past, what things have been successful in accomplishing him, in getting him to do whatever it is you're nagging about. Sometimes it's better to do it yourself or just hire someone. The point is, nagging turns you into that wife. Don't be that wife. Okay. The last thing on that is think of a constructive communication you can say that is, that will get you over, instead of nagging, a constructive criticism, how to say it, how you're gonna make a mistake, and then you're gonna say, I know you were gonna change that light bulb, whatever it is. Okay. Number 8 is bear grudges for a long time. This is, again, one of the worst ways to bring out the worst in your husband, the best ways to bring out the worst in your husband. So it's a long running cliche that, as Sarah just said, everyone remembers everything that their husband did to hurt them. So our sources say we must forgive. It's not just a nice thing to do, it's our obligation. So in Sefer Vayikra we learn, you shall neither take revenge from nor bear a grudge against the members of your people. I am the Lord. So if we recognize that bearing a grudge causes distance in our marriage, that we gain nothing from it, that it festers and causes lack of closeness, if we understand that, it will hopefully let us forgive quicker. Reminding our husband of his past misdeeds is a surefire way to cause him not to be motivated to make us happy in the future. The Gemara says, who's ever willing to forgive and forget, Hashem will deal mida, keneged mida, and forgive his sins. So by forgiving him, he will forgive you. Okay, we got through them. Okay, fine. Okay, let me give the wrap up. It is Leah's secret of the day is you have it within your power to bring out the best in your husband. And the homework for the week, one time this week, don't point out a mistake that your husband makes. That's the homework. Don't point out any mistake your husband makes, one time at least this week. This is the Ladies Talk Show. Leah Richeimer, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, very quickly, Tim, we had someone on Facebook who said,